Hi everyone, this is BDevine and welcome to the Temple of the Flame. This is where you are going to have life-changing information and things for you to do that will transmit new energy into your life. Right now, we are in a very, very powerful window in November, as on the 20th we will be in a new moon in Scorpio, but it's also doing other things with other planets. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. But today I was doing a transmission reading for someone, and this destiny transmission came up for this person out of the blue. Like, it wasn't something that I was even planning, okay? So I tuned in and asked for a collective destiny transmission, okay? And this is about the timeline that's not coming, it's already here. And this is because of the developments you have all made in your life. By pushing through and speaking with you pretty much almost every single day, the energy is shifting. So whatever shifts inside of you shifts all around you. It has no choice. And even for myself, having a connection with my youngest son who's in Australia, right? And seeing and hearing the things that he's able to put together now that wasn't happening so much before. I directly believe, because of the shift in the timelines, the shift that I've been going through personally is affecting everybody else by proxy, right? So this is what's happening. When you go through, okay, a transformation by understanding and awakening your own original flame, your original code that you put into place, that you hid throughout so many different lifetimes, where you might have expressed yourself in other lifetimes about it and were shut down, where you were misunderstood, where you were cursed and hexed and hated for what you know and for what you wouldn't do as well, i.e. submit to control, right? When you open up as the flame bearer, when you open up as the voice of the flame, when you open up your own temple of the flame inside of yourself, when you embrace your intuition differently, when you take control back of your own life in so many different ways, when you understand how easy all of this actually is, with little effort on your part other than to continue to talk about the flame that you have, the connection that you already have, the abilities that you already have, right? And speaking in this way. Declarations are everything, as I've said. It has no choice but to spread throughout your life, and you're going to see it in the most unusual ways. This is why I had to do this collective destiny transmission, because the destiny timeline's not coming, as I said, it's already here. Okay, so, right. If you have been feeling things being a lot more powerful lately, it's because the entire collective has reached a point where the old structures can't hold this weight of the emerging truth, okay? Now, be aware that as I'm speaking to you, and I've tried to do this so many times, and I've tried to do this in so many different lifetimes, that there may just be a little bit of a glitch, I guess you could say, in my voice, but I'm going to keep going anyway. So the collective reached the point where the old structures can no longer hold the weight of emerging truth. Okay? Things are going to fall down. People are going to be exposed. Information has no choice but to come out. And for the first time in many lifetimes, this destiny vault is opening up for all of you. I knew I had to do something that would be for all of you. Not all of you can come to the Dragonfire or the monthly webinars. And I'm really trying to take care of the people who can't be at these things but will be able to be at these things soon. This Destiny Vault needs to open. It's not a prediction, it's an alignment. Okay, so I'm going to read to you a recalibration of every soul who's been pulled towards the flame in the last 3 months, let's say, especially over the last 3 months. You can feel this in your chest. You can feel it behind your eyes. You can feel it in the way your old life no longer fits. And this is the sound of destiny waking up. I read the funniest meme this morning, and it's so true, right? The healed version of myself is meaner. Because that means that you're not putting up with rubbish. Your boundaries are strong. You're focusing on where you're going. You're not listening to the family or neighborhood drama. You don't watch the same programs. You may not be able to watch The Walking Dead anymore because it's too in your face. It's too gory. It's too whatever it is. Your transitions come also in subtle ways. Your feed may change on Facebook. You may start putting just funny stuff up. You're like, right, I'm protesting in my own way. Everything's going to be funny, right? There is no nonsense allowed. There's no drama allowed. There's no name calling allowed. I don't care what political sides people are on. I don't care what they're carrying on about. I don't care who believes what, because it's all the same big old bird anyway, right? So you can choose what you have in your field. You see what I'm saying? The way that your old life no longer fits. If you try to fit your old life, right? If you try to fit this into your new life, and you're thinking to yourself, your new life isn't going to really notice that you're slipping this thing in. If you try to do that, you are going to have a massive wake-up call. It won't be small. And it probably won't be pretty. But you're going to have it anyway. You can't squeeze in the old into the new. Okay, and not have consequences of that. So, the collective astral scan. When I'm looking into the field, I saw 3 layers of activation spreading through the collective. The first one, the rising pulse. Golden pulse moving through the ribs and solar plexus of thousands of people at once. This is the clearing of old fear programming. People are feeling random waves of courage, sudden bursts of clarity, an urge to step into something bigger. It's not random. The destiny line is switching on. The second layer is the unmasking. A mimic fog once wrapped around the collective's throats. The fog is burning. Collectively, people are realizing who's real, who's inverted, who's running mimic frequencies, and who is silently feeding on their light. Who is silently draining your energy, okay? Your voice is returning at the same speed that their illusions collapse. It's exciting. The third layer is the diverging paths. So, 2 paths split in the field. Path 1, those who are clinging to the old world. Path 2, those who follow the flame into the destiny. Those who follow the old path, the old world, it doesn't matter. People are allowed to do whatever they want to do. It's not wrong. Okay? It's where they're at. All right? Same with the next path of following the flame into your destiny. It's not wrong. It's where you're at. Okay? You are all who are listening here on path 2. The split is actually widening. Protection is increasing, right? And authority is strengthening here. So the collective destiny gate opened, and this opens when the mimics weaken. We've done all this work. Enough flame bearers stand awake, okay? The field stops collapsing inward. And as of this week, the gate stands wide open. So this means new work, new roles, new wealth streams, new memories, new allies, new timeline openings. And the old karmic loops simply stop running, right? We've done this work. Not because the old loops are healed, but because they're no longer relevant to who you are becoming. Remember I was talking about these going around in the thing, and then you go back around, and a lot of that karmic looping was happening because of the old programs, right? So you are entering into, as a collective, we are entering into the destiny phase. It includes a deeper sense of internal truth. Okay, nothing gets past you. A sudden intolerance for interference. No. People are not going to tell you anything anymore. You're figuring it out on your own. Okay. A magnetic pull towards purpose. So you're going to start knowing a little bit more about what that is for you. Right? Some of you will write, some of you will speak, some of you will teach and guide, and some of you will go on to something that you love doing, aerobics, whatever it is, right? You're doing for you. And this brings upgrades in your intuitive clarity. Like, there's no doubting anything, right? Stronger guides returning, visions, dreams, and flashes accelerating, body recalibration around the spine and the throat. The reason why we usually recalibrate in there is because the spine holds gateways, and so does the throat. Those are gateways to other things, realms, places, all the rest of it, which we will, if you don't know any of that yet, you will if you keep on hanging around me. Anyway, many will feel heat in the center of the chest, pressure behind the eyes, ringing in the ears, waves of deja vu. You're just going to be standing there doing something, you're like, I've done this before. It'll just come back to you, right? Emotions rising and dissolving quickly. So this is the rewiring of the destiny channel, okay? You're not waiting for your future is waiting for you to step into your identity. I know people that love this work but are still wrapped up in the views, the old scene, the old platforms of being seen, the old methods and everything, but they want to do this. But they can't let go of, everything that they started with, right? If I kept with everything I started with, all we'd ever talk about would be fairies, spirit guides, and cartomancy. I would be doing fortune telling by cartomancy. I'd be speaking with you about fairies, right? And spirit guides. If that's where I was in the very beginning in 1990. That's all I wanted to talk about. Yes, I already knew how to do tarot, but my thing was playing cards. Okay? My thing was playing cards. And you know what even more about that was? Is that I didn't even really want to do them for other people. I wanted people to do my fortune for me. Right? And did you know there was only one person many, many years ago now? There was this person in the Adelaide show at the Adelaide Showgrounds, okay, in South Australia. This person, you might know this person. This person did wax pictures. This person had, I don't know what their name is. It's a gentleman. He wore a vest all of the time. And what he did was he got you to choose these different colored pieces of wax, and he would melt the wax on the page and it would make a pattern, and he would read the pattern. He was the only one in my entire lifetime, and this was oh my God, probably in 2010, around that time. Long time ago now, right? 15 years ago, he said to me, what are you doing with this group of girls? And I was with a group of girls. We had our own table at the Adelaide show, and we had a table. We were doing angel readings and card readings and all of this. And I was with this group, and we had to pay the lady that we were with half of our money and stuff for all of the time that we were there. It was just ridiculous. So I went over to this fella. It was diagonally across the way, and I said, okay, I'll try. I'll have one of these wax, because I wanted the wax picture. I thought it was cool art, right? As he did it, so I picked out all these colors. As he did it, he just said to me, what are you doing with all of them? And I said, well, I've just come here because I've been asked to do readings and all this, that, and the other. And he said, what you're going to do is far bigger than this. And I said, yes, I have a feeling. I said, I am moving out onto my own. You know, I have my website and I'm doing things on my own, but as a favor, I'm here with this group. And he goes, no, it's going to be fun. This is where you are now. And he showed me at the beginning, and then he just showed all this flame and all this light. It was always there. Like that it was just going to expand and expand and expand. Like he was pretty blown away, and I never forgot this, right? The destiny that we have, okay, it commands our presence in the here and now. You can't keep doing the same old thing and expect to grow, you know. It does take a lot of shifting and a lot of changing. There was one point where I would only do cards for myself or friends, that's it. There was one point where I wasn't as confident, obviously, as I am now. I wasn't as sure of myself as I am now. I wasn't able to pick up things as quickly as I do, right? One, because I was younger, and two, because I had a problem with speaking about all of this because of past lives, right? If I stayed where I was, none of us would expand here after all of these years of being online. I'm just going to be just like everybody else, which I felt like it was happening anyway. I'm trying to stand out. Hey, look at this. But as soon as someone sees cards come out, they don't like it in the big scheme of things. Or they see someone doing a channeling and they roll their eyes, right? Because we've seen Bashar, let's face it. That is one scary guy. And we've seen the way that it goes, okay? There had to be something that changed. There had to be integrity. I know there's so many of you that bring integrity to what you do, the old methods, the tarot readings, the oracle, whatever it is that you do, right? I know that you're trying to bring the integrity in there, right? I know that. But when you move into the flame sovereignty and you're doing this, you don't have as much interest in that kind of prophecy anymore, because you're already understanding how you are the seer and that you command what you want anyway. So no cards are going to tell you. They can guide you, right? But the shift is always internal. It always has been, right? You have to remember that sort of stuff. We are preparing to walk through these gateways. Your destiny demanded your presence here. As we step into our true timeline, I'm just going to read this. I claim the destiny that was mine before this life began. No mimic, no doubt, no voice, no authority can remove me from my path. Only truth guides me. Only flame steadies me. Only destiny shapes me. I rise now. And as you say this, the destiny gate plugs into your spine. You start to feel a shift. You can probably already feel a subtle energy thing going on here. Already I can just feel something going on at the top of my back. And speaking of which, right, I'm going to go over the near future for the collective, but the more that you step into this, you accept your origin flame, okay? You start understanding what's been happening to us spiritually. We've been looping regurgitated, controlled information, okay? And there was so much more. There was so much more. And the beauty of that was it was already within us, okay? As we move forward, more comes out. If you deny yourself, okay, you're going to feel like you're about to explode. If you deny yourself and you go back to the old ways of doing things, for whatever reason that you're doing it, you will be forced to have some kind of massive epiphany, emotional breakdown, upsetting situation, or it just doesn't work, okay, until you accept your destiny and you start controlling what that is, rather than being controlled by how everybody else does something and has done something. So we'll just all do this and hopefully we'll stand out. And as much as you might teach in a different way, as much as you might share in a different way, you're still trying to be a shining star in a dead world, a dead system. That all is not going to last for much longer, right? What's happening is your identity activation over the next couple of weeks. Synchronicities increase, people remembering who they are, false connections fall away, revelations, and what's the word? People admitting to something, a deeper mystery being solved. This just happened actually this morning. There's been a situation in my son's life, my youngest and my older two boys, okay, that there was this terrible thing that was going on and accusations flying and all the rest of it. This went on for so long that my older two lost their spark, they lost their smile, they lost their sense of fun, and they've been somewhat frozen in the forward, movement. Everything's fearful for them. Again, I can only work distantly and with wellness in my heart for them and see them, blah, blah, blah. But my youngest son solved a freaking mystery this morning that was clouding over us and crowding us, that's the word, for all of these years, right? This mystery, a piece of time, an incident. I'm trying really not to breach my son's privacy or anything, but there was an incident that was recorded, and my son now is holding a memory of this incident that happened. And instead of it being directed where it was directed in the beginning, other things came to light which pointed at the real perpetrators. Let's put it that way. And this kid, who's not a kid anymore, but he's always your kid, right, has had this mystery in his head of this missing time and not really sure exactly what happened since he was 4.5 years old, 5 years old. And always his mind went to, well, I guess that's what happened then. But he couldn't actually remember what had happened until this last week. And he was telling me about it this morning. And we started to clue into, I can feel something loosen up in my back by telling you this. We could feel something shift out. A few days before this, my husband and I were just driving along. This was on Friday. So we were going to our little thing that we were doing on Friday. all of a sudden in the car, I had to grab the back of my head, my shoulder. It was on my right side, and this intense pulse. The only way I can explain it is I had a migraine in my shoulder, right? That kind of pressure, it wasn't a muscle thing or anything, right? So my hand went straight on it. Obviously, I'm putting the flame right into it. And I'm like, this is Adrian. That's my youngest, right? This is Adrian. Something's going on. There's some kind of conversation. And here it comes on Monday, where he's had this big conversation and had this big revelation. So these false connections, okay, these false, loyal connections that he had in his life are falling away because where the blame was pointed was completely inaccurate. Now it's gone like this, and all the signs are lining up. Not only are the signs lining up, but these people that are part of all of this big hush and this big lie for so long are literally letting things out of the bag. They have no choice. The truth is being spoken, and the person doesn't even realize just how much they're saying when they're saying it. You know what I mean? They're not realizing how much they're actually revealing. Now, this is huge. This is happening across the board, though. I have people who come to me and literally reveal to me stuff that's happening to them. People that I hadn't heard from in years are finally finding this place again. I haven't changed my YouTube. It's still me. All my old videos are still here. Facebook, the same. So, this is all going to increase. You are remembering who you are. The 3 to 4 week destiny rearrangement. Doors opened where there were none. Just all of a sudden. Okay? Old patterns collapse. New directions form. Right? This is happening. If something wasn't right for you a month ago, you may find that it either is completely not right for you, you don't know what you were thinking, or that area of your life starts to open up. In week 5 or 6, the flame alignment happens more, confidence returns, gifts are resurfacing, the voice is strengthening. I don't even need to, I can just sit and speak for an hour or two on the field, on the past, on past lives, on restructuring, on healing guidance, on different protocols and breathing, whatever it is. And whereas before I would be explaining the reading, with the cards people had asked for, and now not having any cards at all in the beginning, I'm going to admit, in the beginning I was like, well, what am I going to talk about then? I'm going to have an hour or two and with 35 minutes or something, I'm going to talk straight for that amount of time. And then as I'm saying, what am I going to talk about? It's like, well, you're going to know exactly what to say. It's just right there. You don't need cards to tell you, in other words. So, in week 7 to 8, you begin sensing your future path in exact detail. Timelines reveal themselves. Clarity becomes your default state. Okay? Now, the final transmission here is the destiny phase has begun. You're not at the end of anything. You're at the beginning of everything that you came here to do. So you walk forward and understand that the gate is open. This is made even more powerful, okay, by Pluto in Aquarius at the moment, because what that is doing is changing and evolving how we see our own spirituality as well as a collective as well. Things that we hold, things that we've believed for some time can go through, a big change, right? So the thing is here is that things, again, it's not about something's coming, we're walking towards it, we're just going to go like this. This is in the here and in the now. When your healed version of yourself can be meaner, that means that you just don't put, you're not going to, like, for example, okay, my youngest son, let's keep going on about him, but he is speaking to his dad differently. He's sticking up for himself, let's just say. He is calling him out on stuff. He's calling him out on psychological behaviors like gaslighting and making someone feel like they're crazy because they're asking you a question, right? Anyway, so because of him sticking up for himself, and because things have gotten, heated, they're still talking, they still do, they live in the same town, nothing's going to happen. His dad, after 20-something years, wants to speak to me. And he says to his son, it's not bad, which it is. It's not bad. I just need to have a talk with her, right? And I instantly am saying, no, if this person wanted to speak with me, they should have done so when the little fella was little and all of this was going on. It should have been open communication all that time ago. Now, my youngest son is 26 years old. There's a lot of things that happened in that time. There was a lot of moments where I could have died in that time, okay? There was horrendous things that we were accused of. There was horrendous pain, right? So now, because my son is waking up to things on his own, I'm not there, right? He's seeing it on his own, right? The dad wants me on the phone so that he can tell me or try to control me or what I should and shouldn't be saying to my son, or what's been coming up and why, and how it ends up being my fault, right? I'm not even there. How ridiculous, right? And I said, no, I'm not. Why would I want to talk to this person? He's not going to listen anyway. He just wants to try to manipulate me and control me, right? It's something I got away from a very long time ago. There's no interest, right, in talking. And so my son understands this. And I'm like, and by the way, he shouldn't be asking you to ask me, okay? You're not 5, and that should not happen. You shouldn't be the middleman for anyone. If something happens to you, I would expect him to contact me. That's the only time I need to speak with him. No other time, right? When you do something like that, when you shift in that way, right, and you stick to your guns, a person who is not authentic will unravel on their own, right? And so because of the connection I have with my son, and because it's been going on now, 8 years, we've been back and forth quite solidly, and more so since in this past year, past 12 months, where my youngest lost his stepmom. So he was talking to me and, like, obviously guiding him through this, and the behaviors of his father, that's the behaviors of his father. It's nothing to do with me. But somehow I'm going to be blamed in his eyes for what is going on here. No way. So when you are in this timeline, again, as I said to you, things have no choice but to change. They change with your children, they change with you, they change with people who you've been connected with, people who think they can still do things in the same way and get the same reaction out of you. The most amazing feeling is to be able to say no. And in the past, when it come to my son's dad, even though he did such horrendous things, and as I said to you, almost died several times, okay? Even though that's the case, I still would have been quite willing when my son was young to speak with him. Never wanted to speak with me, right? Never wanted to deal with anything. But now, because he hasn't got a hold of anything, he's trying to get me in line. And it's the most amazing feeling to say no. Like I said, in your healed reality, you get meaner. And it's a good thing. And it's not being nasty, just outwardly nasty to people for no reason. No. It's when people push you over the line or push the boundary or try to step in where they're not welcome, it's a flat no. It's an end. This is a timeline authority shift. A timeline authority shift. You're all feeling it. It's an emotional shift. It's huge. You have no choice but to stick with it and feel better because of it, right? You're restoring things here, collapsing the false systems and restoring an entire lost system. That's what the flame sovereignty is. It was completely pushed out of existence through control mechanisms. It was hidden within the cells of our body, ready for the code to be punched in for it to open up again. It's hidden in energetic places around the world, in the cosmos, in parallel universes, in other dimensions, in past lives, on the earth and in the sea. We are connected to every single one of them. And if you stick around, I'm going to show you how to do it. Or you're going to be seeing how to do it yourself. So, you finally stepped into the identity, okay, that is part of, because there's still things that are to be developed, but it's part of the destiny line that you set for yourself. This is why everything is accelerating. This is why the mimics are panicking, right? When they're panicking at all of this, they come in harder and they come in harder and the false ones come in and they try to get your attention, right? This is why people are repeating things. Maybe, like I was saying, this person wanting to speak to me. No is the answer. So his answer was, well, if something happens to you, I'm just not going to tell her then. Because I'm so mature. What a stupid thing to say, right? So my son's there. I'm going to get other people to tell you, don't worry. Your message is hitting harder. People are going to start understanding this, right? And the thing is like, you're going to continually feel these gates open within you. It has no choice but to do so, because it's taken over. This destiny energy, this forward, easier, accelerated path, okay, is overtaking now the lifeline. You walk with your destiny, not towards it. Destiny in your daily life emerging. So you've got to understand that you may have completed a lot of lesser timelines already. So what else have we got here? Okay. So in the next 3 to 6 months, we think we're in an expanded phase now. Everything is going to expand. The voice, your recognition, releasing things that you were carrying by yourself. You're feeling lighter, stronger, sharper, right? Your body's recalibrating to how it should be. The next identity begins to step forward. The next things that you are identifying with comes forward. You start to feel more comfortable doing this, okay? The flame economy begins in 2 to 3 months. New things begin to launch. There is an energy here of people beginning to get this so deeply that they'll start to teach and they'll start to guide and they'll start to awaken as well. So as you step fully into your flame identity, your destiny rises because you rise. Your vaults open because you built them. Your voice activates the world that you came here to restore. You walk the path that you wrote for yourself. You are the architect of your own life and many other things. And you are beginning to remember yourself now as well. You are returning, and I've said this a few times also to you. This is not the beginning of your work, okay? It's the beginning of a new era. This is what this is. We're all at the start of this. And look, we've done this before. Our future selves are like, okay, you know, it's going to, don't worry, you've got it, it's happening. My future self sat me down basically and just laid all of this flame sovereignty onto me. I had awakening after awakening after awakening. I couldn't keep up with the writing. I had to understand what everything was, and that's what I'm trying to explain to all of you. What we have here is the power to ascend from within ourselves. What this does is naturally generates an ascension of the earth, right? Some people will split off and continue in what they feel comfortable with. There's no judgment for that. Who cares? They do what they do. Eventually, though, there's going to be more and more and more people over a very fast period of time, okay, that have no choice but to feel this. So, for example, someone who decides they're going to keep on doing Reiki, tarot, all of that stuff, right? They're going to keep on doing it. What's going to happen is they're doing a great job, okay? They're really trying to help people as a soul. Okay, that's fine. What's going to happen is that a flame bearer is going to walk in to one of those sessions. And when the flame bearer starts to talk about the flame and the origin flame and how we've got this all within us and how things are changing and all of this sort of stuff, that person will have no choice but to say, oh my God, so it's real, because here's this person coming out of nowhere. I knew about this stuff, but I was sticking to what I knew better. And now that I've got clients coming in here talking to me about it, right? It's going to be like that, where this just continues to have, like wildfire, continues to flow through and burn down the old systems, awakening people who are forgetting their flame-bearing roles because they're still holding on to something out of fear, right? That's what that is. So anything that makes you feel like you can only do something in one way, okay, that's not exactly liberating for you or part of your destiny, is it? Unless you're looking at all things. And this was something that happened to me a long time ago, is that I looked at, I was telling you, spirit guides, fairies, cartomancy, right? Playing cards. That was, I wanted to tell fortunes. That was more what I was doing. I was much younger, obviously. It was 1990. So the way that I was doing it was a certain way. But I always had in me to understand and learn about different methods, even different religions, like Jewish mysticism, right? Magic numbers, the tables, right? Different systems of divination that came through different ways of, or different religions, right? Even Catholicism, right? They love their bingo, they love to drink, they don't care about smoking, they do all their things, they talk to the angels, okay? So because that church spoke to the angels, I was always able to use that and swing it back at my dad, like later on in life. But it's like some churches and some denominations of churches are obviously more open than others were. And they wouldn't mind someone like me coming in and just asking, hey, well, what about the angels then? If you're not really allowed to talk to angels, then we would never have known about what happened to Jesus, would we? We would never know he was coming because Mary's not allowed to talk to the angels. So what's she doing talking to Gabriel? So there's things like this that where you can get an opening in because people are opening to other things. With my work, I don't like witchcraft. I don't do spells and crap like this. But if I didn't know what I was talking about and then I just hated it, I'd be shut off to a lot of other types of energy that's there. Like earth stuff, like working with herbs, right? Of creating something that's a poultice or creating things with aromatherapy, right? All healing crafts, but labeled witchcraft, right? Talking about the moon and stuff like this. The moon is basically a governor of emotions. It's sent that way. It's set up that way. It's not what we think it is, okay? Just put it that way. And I'll have to explain that at another time. But things are set up in a way to pull us back like a boomerang. And some of the deeper things with this work is pulling down those old systems that no one's even recognizing, watching, or seeing. They just happen to benefit from it later on, right? If you don't look at all different aspects of, say, spirituality or flame sovereignty or whatever it is, right? If you're not looking at all the different aspects of it, then you're just only one-minded or one-sided. And so when someone comes and asks you a difficult question, you're going to have no idea what to say. Let's get the cards out. It's probably what you're going to say, right? Everyone's intuition expands through knowledge and through trying things that are different. If we all stayed doing things the way that we did it 10 years ago, none of us would evolve, change, grow, lift, shift, move, have blessings, have things happen in our lives to strengthen us, right? It just won't work. We'll just all be stagnant is what that is. If you didn't open yourself up to channel one day, thousands and thousands of people may not have been helped by your message, right? So if I kept thinking that channeling was like Bashar and weird sounds coming out of my mouth and being aggressive and all that sort of stuff and weird, if I kept on thinking that that's what channeling was like, and some of the Seth Roberts and all that Seth books, right? Jane Roberts, right? So kept thinking it was strange, or the law of one, thinking it was all robotic like that, I never would have opened up into my way of doing it, right? But I had to have that knowledge. You have to have the knowledge of something. You have to experience something in order to get behind it. And what's going on here is that it's unfolding as we speak. The things are happening in our face as we speak, right? It's all taking place. The emotions are coming. The epiphanies are coming faster and thicker. They're saying no. They're getting a little bit meaner, right? Putting your boundaries up. Being funny. Controlling what's on your timeline. Like getting rid of groups and things that you might have been involved in. Stop watching stuff that you used to be able to watch. You can't watch the same things anymore. It's not judgment. It's you pushing yourself into your destiny from anything that's weighing you down or stopping you. You'll keep on going forward, right? But there'll always be things that try to stop you. You're pushing this out of your way now. You're becoming more aware of those things before they even happen. And this is why I have to make these videos. I went through a period where I wasn't even making anything on Facebook or YouTube at all. Somehow people were still finding me, but I wasn't really bothering with it as much, right? And then a few years ago, I started to just do this, be here. And now it's even more powerful than ever. However, if I'd stayed where I was, I probably wouldn't have even made a video the first time, because I'm too worried back then about what anybody thought, or worried how it was going to come across, right? So now that's laughable to me because I couldn't care less, but I did feel that way. How's it going to come across? People going to like me? People going to listen to me? Do we know how many authors are out there that have already got their books out and are already famous and people come from all over the place to see them? I used to be like that. Back in the day, who was it? Who was that guy? I can see his face. There was this famous medium. He'd written books and all kinds of things. A British guy, I believe it was. Oh. But it would be like back in 2009, it was like this person was just like at the height of their career. And I'd be like, well, I didn't do anything like them. Yes, I loved Doreen Virtue back in the day, but I didn't do my things like her. I wanted to take bits and pieces from everything and create my own. And I felt that that brought in this foundation of knowing and strength, because then you can draw from all different angles rather than just the one thing, right? Since your childhood, your guides, okay, your guardians, angels, guides, loved ones, ancestors, animal guides, totems, whatever, have been bringing you to this moment. I know for me, they were trying to do it a long time ago and I wasn't seeing it. So I'm going around the world somewhere else and somewhere else. Still not getting the message, right? Getting part of the message, but not all of it. And sometimes for me, you know, my guidance is not really for myself. Like my intuition is rarely about me. It's more about the world, the collective, or you all, whoever asks me something. Because when I ask something for myself, I will get partial answers because I'm not supposed to know everything. That's what they told me. You can't know everything. I'm like, why not? Tell me. But it's not about that. It's not about that per se, as having to know the future. Instead, it's creating the future that you want. And this is why they were saying you don't need to know, because you need to create it how you want it to be, right? You need to create your body how you want it to be. I always say to people, you kind of know exactly what you're doing when you haven't got it how you want it. We do. We all do. I knew what was going on with me when I didn't have it how I wanted it. So we have to admit those things to ourselves. And it's not some mysterious disease that we have that nobody else in the world has. And that's causing it, right? No, we know what's causing it. And we have to get through those things to better ourselves and acknowledge those things to begin the new pathway that we want, to understand things about ourselves in a loving way, and then put it to use. Otherwise, it just sits there. You go back over the same loop, right? So, the beginning of the new era is here. The new moon in Scorpio is going to be here this week as well. It is quite, it's not subtle. Okay, let's put it that way. It's going to be a big one with this. We've been building ourselves through these ignition points as well. We've been going through these changes, right? We've been going through understanding ourselves in a bigger way. And when Scorpio is involved in anything, and if this is a new moon, it shows a lot of hidden stuff coming up. It's like I was telling you about my son. All of a sudden, something that he believed, you know, to be true, or something when he was little, now he's like, hang on a minute, wait. You've just said this, 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 and this. Now I'm putting this together because I'm not dumb in my own brain and worked out that you've just told me the key that answers all the riddles that was going on here. And unfortunately, all these people over here were getting blamed for something that actually happened here. And this is how powerful this is. With that, whenever we're shifting, okay, collectively and individually, remember that the echoes of the past will try to hold you back. You must be continually dissolving stuff in your life as well. Taking your power back, doing your declarations, your invocations, doing your breath work, right? One day at a time. Now, I hope that all of you appreciated this transmission today, this Deeper Destiny transmission. Again, there's so much more on Patreon for flame bearers, $55 a month, and you get access to the entire library and free webinars for you every month live with me. And this month we are doing the 7 Dragons Keys to Creation, powerful webinar to activate those different things. Each month it's something else. Each month it's going to accelerate your knowledge, your wisdom, your healing, whatever it is that you're looking for, and more. Okay? So I do hope to see you all there at those things that I give to you. Excuse me. And there will be so many things that are revealed from these time locks that are beginning to open as well. And I'll start explaining some of those things as we go along. There's so much to learn, but be open, because you will have no choice but to understand your own vibe, to understand other people's vibe, and to make decisions about what you want and where you're going. As soon as you accept your origin flame, the whole world opens up in a whole completely different way for you. Okay, so I will see you in the next video. Let me know what you think, as always, and bye for now.